Hello soul friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's pick a card reading is a request from Ashvini Selvin. I apologize if I butchered that name, but we got our first request ever, so that's awesome. It was, how does your boss see you? We do have a popular video that I believe is something along the lines of how does your boss and coworkers see you. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, go ahead and go check that one out. It's been immensely popular compared to the rest of my videos. But yeah, it's been too long since we've done one. Let's go ahead and do one today. We're doing this a little different on how you pick your piles. I'm going to hold up each pile or each card for each group, and you're going to pick based on the stone or the image. And when you're looking at the image, I want you to think about what image looks like your workplace to you. What image looks like your workplace to you? All right. We'll go with your interpretation of how you pick. And then when we get into your readings, I'll tell you what my interpretation of each card is. And then we will also get into a card that came out for y'all collectively before I started recording. We will only be using one deck today. Well, technically two, because one card came out from a deck that was a gift that I just used in a previous video. I actually just did the video 2 seconds ago because I can't get it to upload. So I'm just going to record more videos until I can figure out how to get them to upload from my new phone. That's why my hiatus has been so long. My loyal followers is that I have a new phone and I can't figure out how to get my YouTube videos to upload. It's been a nightmare. I like the phone, I like the camera, but yeah, that's how we're dealing with that. So one card popped out of this deck for you all collectively, and I'm going to show that to you first before you pick your piles. And then this is the deck that I will be using for all of your readings. So let's go ahead and talk about this card first. So Two of Cups came out, and that's all about partnership. All right, and since this is about how your boss sees you, and I want you to consider more than just your boss when you're looking at these cards, right? Also keep in mind any of these figures in these cards could be you, or they could represent somebody else. It's totally up to you on how you want to pick them, how they speak to you, okay? And then we will just see how it resonates and speaks to you as I interpret them in each individual reading. If you think it's not working, you can hop out and try a different one. And I will just try my best to do more of these frequently for those of you that have frequently changing and moving workplaces. It's nice to have those coming consistently. I used to watch a lot of readings on workplaces when I worked as a teacher. Not so much now because I have very few coworkers that I have to deal with. It's mostly just me and the people that I read for. Alrighty, let's go ahead and look. It's about partnerships. It's about healing. Alright, so if you're going through a rough time with work, keep that in mind, that is there for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and let you pick your groups. Group 1, you have the Nine of Pentacles. And you also have this, I don't know what it is. Anytime you see me doing these little heart crystals and stones, I have no idea what any of them are unless I just know them on sight because they did not come with any kind of chart. Pile number 2, or group 2, since it's not a whole pile. I really suck at deciding what I want to do there. I should just say groups every time. That way it doesn't matter if there's a pile or not. What do you guys think? Group 2. Remember, no matter your individual beliefs, tarot or oracle reading is your spirit guides coming forward to give you advice, or it is your subconscious mind helping you answer life's ponders. And no matter how you look at that, it's healthy and you are in the right place. Oh, and then we're also going to do Group 3, Seven of Cups. And your crystal. I know what this is. This is bloodstone, baby. It's my Celtic birthstone. Aha. Alrighty. Go ahead and pause if you need, and we will see you in your individual readings. Take care. Bye. Hello, group one. So if you picked this card, the Nine of Pentacles, what I read on this card is that she's a successful, independent, wealth-savvy woman. Okay, so if not wealthy, then wealth-savvy to the point where struggling does not come easily because she has her ducks all in a row, if you know what I mean. And her ravens, if you take the meaning there. Ravens in this case would be all about change. So this might be a change coming towards some of you, or a change that some of you are hoping for. Some of you might be contemplating getting out of where you're at and going to work for yourselves. I do get that vibe for just a few of you in this card, only because a lot of times this can represent a self-made person, or a person who's self-employed, or a person who's recently come into a certain amount of moolah, and so they feel able to quit their job. Those kinds of things could all apply to the energy of this card. It will speak to you more depending on each individual, right? But that being said, it's a beautiful energy. It's a good energy. If you're wondering about your boss, and this represents your boss and not you, your boss would be this woman, this independent, and if it's not a female, it can be the same type of classy, independent atmosphere, just in a male. It's just traditionally the person depicted in that card happens to be female, but you don't have to limit it to that if your boss happens to be a different gender than that. It still means the same thing. It's a self-made person. It's usually a very self-satisfied person, but in a good way, not self-satisfied like I'm so awesome and hot, but more along the lines of self-made in a way that they've earned it. All right, so some of you might have a very powerful boss that's earned their money. You might notice that about them. They might wear it well, they might show it well, but at the same time they show that air of sophistication and of self-made majesty of certain types, is what I'm feeling, if this is representing a boss for some of you. Okay. For others, this could just represent what you want for yourself at some point in your job. You might be wanting more money from this boss, and that's why you're looking into this reading in the first place. I could go on and on. Let's grab some more cards for clarification. I love just using the same deck for every reading because it makes it so much easier for me to not worry about what's going on. I want these two cards that are on top. Nope, I want all of these. All right, let's start with these. We have the Knight of Wands, the King of Coins. Interesting. Those of you who are looking to see what your boss thinks of you, which is the whole, topic that we went into. So of course that's why you're here. Those two cards show some pretty good vibes from your boss of how they feel about you. Eight of Wands. Hanged Man. Ten of Cups. Okay. Let me digest this for just a moment or two. Almost see all these. We know what this one is. We'll take that Nine of Pentacles and just kind of squish it up. Alrighty. There we go. So overall, what I'm seeing from what your boss thinks about you, And this goes for everybody, regardless of, you know, the energy check we did with the card you picked of whether or not you were in the right pile. That was just kind of a way to check in. Your boss feels like you're very inspired on the job. So if you don't feel inspired on the job, you're faking it well. I've had to do that before. I've had to fake it. I've had to fake it at work. The King of Coins also shows them feeling like you have potential to earn more in some cases. It also shows that you seem to give off an air of having a lot, even if you do not. So remember, this is the perception of another person. So it may or may not be congruent with reality, right? It might just be their perception of you. And so far, that looks extremely positive. They do worry that because you seem like you're well off and you seem like passionate and inspired and driven towards action, right? And you do seem that way towards the job as well. And they love that about you. But they worry about maybe you getting whisked away if something cool came up quickly and enticing enough. Which you obviously should. If something enticing enough comes up, you should always take it in your best interest and not worry about what your boss thinks. But it seems as though they want to keep you around. Okay. This could indicate them wanting to keep you there, which may or may not seem a little bit oppressive to you in some cases. Some of them are worried that they'll lose you to a family. Like maybe they're worried that if you're female that you'll get pregnant and then you'll, you know, decide you want to be at home with your kids all the time because you seem like you have enough money that you could probably just do that. And people that have kids a lot of times do end up wanting to just spending time with their kids. That could be in their mind as well. So like they seem to want to keep you there is the main feeling that I'm getting for you about your boss. Let's see what else we can see. Is there anything they have a problem with them and their performance? How does their boss see them? Are there any problems that they have? Yeah, unsureness of the future, right? The moon is about fear of the future sometimes. It's also about not being able to see the way entirely, okay? And yeah, the world, they worry about it coming to an end. I think that they're more just worried about losing you as an employee than anything else. So it seems as though your boss wants to keep you around. But they do seem to want to keep you around to the extent that in some cases it might be them hoping that you don't have a family. And they might put pressure on you in those respects. Because I do see that hanged cat as being sort of oppressive energy for some. Like the boss might want to keep you there. For example, this is a massive extreme example, and I do not see this extreme of an example happening here, but I just want to give the example so that you have an idea of what like an oppressive boss in the extreme would be like. Like encouraging your workers to spend their money every time paychecks come out, like even organizing parties where they will spend money just to keep them broke so that they keep working for you. That kind of energy. I don't feel like it's that extreme, but I do feel like that desperation of wanting to keep certain people there that are watching this video, okay? And worrying and having a lot of worry of it coming to an end. That does seem to be an issue. Let's look and see. Some of you might be considering leaving or moving on to something else. Let's look and see. What's going on with them, Spirit? With their job. Okay. What else? Okay, your guys are saying to trust your intuition with the High Priestess. They're also saying to save your money, but to also have some balance in your money. They're also showing that you have security if you are worried about finance, that you have security or protection around that finance. Okay, what else? Some of you might be in a happy family situation, and you've already sort of like maybe took off like the 4th of July, for example, because I'm filming this right after the 4th of July. Perhaps my cat Luna's here. You can't see her, but you might be able to feel her. They don't usually get up on me when I'm like doing readings. It might be something that has caused like them to say something to make you feel uncomfortable, and that's why you're watching this. It's like, oh geez, like am I not allowed to do this time? Okay, because in most jobs you absolutely are allowed. Okay, the other thing that I'm feeling in some cases, you might not have that yet, and so they take advantage of the fact that you don't have that. You'll intuitively know who I'm talking to when I'm saying these things. Your guides are telling me. Let's keep going. Yeah, King of Wands, like be spicy if you need to. Right? You know, be spicy and hold your authority over your own life if you feel that that's something that you need to do. What else, Spirit? Can you advise them about their boss? And yeah, just keep your head down and keep doing the fabulous job that you know you're already doing. You are doing a fabulous job and your boss knows that. That's why they want to keep you. So just keep that in mind. Whenever that feels like that, remind yourself, regardless of whatever big talk your boss might have, they need you more than you need them. This might be good times to ask for a raise. This card did come out for everyone. So keep that in mind. Woo! Take that little flip for however you want to take it, for however it resonated for each. I think that's all I have for you. If this was helpful, let me know in the comment section. If it was not, let me know in the comment section. You can also give me topic ideas there as well. Thank you again, Ashvini Selman, for your wonderful suggestion. I love getting topic ideas. That was my first one ever, but they would certainly help me because I suck at ideas. So yes, please. If you'd like to book a private reading with me, there are ways to do so in the description box. I will see you in the next one, my friends. Take care. Bye. Hello, hello, pile 2. So if you picked this card because it reminded you of your workplace, this card, 5 of Wands, for me, always kind of screams toxic work environment when I'm doing a work reading. So I'm going to take that meaning, but I also see the little star that they're creating. I feel like for some of you, there might be some function within this dysfunction in your workplace, if that makes sense. Sorry for the ceiling fan. That'll be still in a minute. I had to stop it because it makes a terrible sound. What else about... 5 of Wands that I see for y'all. Generally, also, when I find this card, like, a lot of times the person who gets this card is, like, thinking about the conflict, but they're not usually right there in the middle of that conflict. Usually they're off at this distance watching it happen, but it can still affect you emotionally and energetically, definitely. Especially when, like, the vibe is just pretty low. I also want to draw attention to this card that popped out for everyone from the Librefleur Tarot. And this is about partnerships, right? So I feel like for... Ooh! That just flew right at my face. I must have needed to hear something about 2 of Cups today myself. That was so abrupt. Anyway, so as far as your boss goes, I feel like right off the bat that for a lot of you, your boss is aware that this is going on. I'm waiting to see if they're actually doing anything about it. But they definitely don't, for a lot of you, your boss knows that you're not part of that conflict, that you're not usually one to step into the conflict, even to try to make peace, that you try to stay well and far beyond and away from it entirely. So that is also coming through. I think that they generally appreciate that because they feel like the more the messier. And so that also is coming through. What else? And I finally got my last video to upload. I got self-conscious for a second because all my jewelry looks different from the intro. It's because we're in a whole different day now, y'all. I couldn't get my videos to upload for months on my new phone. I finally, it only took me, the magic thing that every person needs is another person to come in to help me. And then they looked at it for 2 seconds and like fixed everything. I was like, how did you do that when it took me 6 hours to literally figure out nothing? So anyway, it wasn't just my phone's issue. It was like my phone connecting to my PC was an issue. And then much updating and pairing of apps. It was ridiculous. So anyway, thank you to Mr. John for helping me with that. True to form, Mr. John just comes in and looks at something technological and it just starts to work again. I, on the other hand, can just sneeze in the same town as one and it will go down. Think I'm kidding around? I'm not. Okay. What else can we see with your boss? What do they think about you? We're just using one deck today, my favorite way to do things. Not because I don't like all my decks, just because I suck at committing to things. And when I have to commit to 5 or 6 at once, I will falter every time. You get me to commit to one thing and I'll be like, I'll pick one. Hello, hello. What? You guys. That just happened. Let's put that right over that conflict card. What? That blows my mind so hard. And like that one flew at us and then that one flew. And then they're flying in the card. I mean, they fly in a lot of these cards because a lot of these cards, they have little bat wings, which is just another reason I love this deck so much. If you want a review of this deck, I'm sure I will do it soon. I will be putting all of the information for this deck in the description box because it's from a smaller business that's on Etsy. And so check them out. Reasonably priced, very nice cards. But this isn't the review. We're looking at your boss. Let's go ahead and peek at these. I'm curious. 2 of coins. You've been juggling a lot. But notice how there's another little cat in this card with them. It almost looks like there's a helper, somebody that helps you. What else do we have? Oh, man. I feel that. I feel like there's a lot of heartache in this group because of that toxic work environment. I don't know why I want to put these this way, but I do. I do see that like your boss sees you as like more of a strength in this toxic environment, right? But at the same time, I don't think they're capable of always telling you that appreciation, or maybe just the toxic energy kind of just weighs you down and makes you a little heart sick. I feel like maybe a lot of you are in a job where the people there care a lot. And so if it feels like other people don't care as much as you, or it feels like you're not appreciated, it hurts like super bad. And I feel like that can come from different angles. I feel like some people might be in like more of like a more largely populated situation where you're dealing with different tiers all in one building. So for example, I'm going to use something I know because I used to work in a school. School vibes are like you've got students, you've got staff, you've got, paras, you've got teachers, you've got the cleaning staff, you've got the food staff, you've got the admin running around. And then you have like what I call the suits, which are people that run around and tell everybody how they should be improving everything. And it just freaks everybody out more. Every school is always trying to improve, so they always hire suits to come in and tell you how to do your jobs. And everybody loves it. So anyway, a lot of heartache can come out of like situations like that and workplaces like that. And that's what I'm feeling from this card here. I feel like even though your boss feels like you're solid, and I feel like with this 2 of Cup energy coming out and then this 2 of Pentacles where there's 2 cats working together, that your boss actually feels like you're okay and there's no need to ever worry about you. I don't think they realize how much the heartache is affecting you. They see you as somebody who overcomes a lot of challenges that you face. Capable. That while everybody else is losing their ish, right, with that conflict card that we covered up, you are actually just minding your business, doing your thing, finding harmony in chaos. All right. So your boss does recognize that, even if they're not saying that to you. What else do you want them to know, Spirit? Slow and steady wins the race with the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like some of you really put a lot of pride in how you look at work. Like you just show up like looking like $1,000,000. Like you have an amazing hat and then you add a bow, right? And then you add a bow to your pony. Sorry, your unicorn. Your unipony. Yes. Yeah, Knight of Coins is all about strategic movement, strategic action. Let's look at this one because I want to see. Ooh, 8 of Coins. Okay, a lot of stuff is coming through on this, and it does not have a lot to do with your boss. Like, I honestly feel like your boss is fine, but you're not fine where you're at right now, and it's because of that conflict in the workplace. And let's be honest about like some things that are true here. Just because your boss appreciates that you're always steady Eddie, running the, you know, stirring your pot when everybody else is stirring a different kind of pot full of you know what that rhymes with pit. Okay? Rhymes with pit pot. Get it? Anyway, a lot of catty energy in your workplace. And it bristles me, it triggers me and bristles me because every place I've worked until I started just working from home with myself had that. It had that there. And I don't care who hears it now. Those places had like a lot of toxicity. There were good points in all of them as well. And I learned good things and I lost good things at all of those jobs. And like, honestly, like, I'm like all of them, like all 2 or 3 of them. I have not had that many careers. I stick with something and try to learn as much as I can while I'm there. I try to turn everything into like a full-blown lifelong career because I just want a routine that's like that, but then it never happens for me. Something comes along and, you know, changes everything. And I'm like, oh, ready to start again and re-identify myself. It's great. Anyway, I digress. Your guides are showing you with these 2 cards to like, in some cases, put your nose to the grindstone, keep doing your job the way you've been doing. And if your boss anxiety is what led you here, let go of that because your boss actually is pretty much okay with you despite what you may have seen or heard. I'm also seeing with the Knight of Coins that you're supposed to like move or take some kind of action. I'm not saying that means you have to quit your job, but some kind of action is moving you forward. But it's not like happening right this second. It's like a slow, steady energy that's like building over time. And as you go, it'll become more clear to you what your path is, and you'll have more money saved, etc. and so forth as you move forward. Because I feel like there are some in here who might be like kind of looking at venturing elsewhere in their workplace, even though it feels okay with your boss. I feel like your position is secure. I honestly feel like they would be kind of lost without you in a lot of regard, whether anyone's ever admitted that to you or not. Sometimes that's hard for people to admit in the workplace. King of Cups. Yeah, you're headed towards like a more emotionally fulfilled place. I'm going to put that right over that heartache. Because that 3 of Swords is all about emotional, you know, heartache or like mental anguish, right? And King of Cups is all about emotional well-being and maturity. And so I want you to have that over the top of that. We're going to use that energy to coat over that heartache that the toxicity has caused, okay? Just because it's toxic there does not mean that it's going to take you down with it. I know sometimes it feels like it might, okay? I also know that sometimes, despite your best intentions, you get sucked in. Bruh, that's okay. My bras and sisses. My people. It is okay. Like, everybody gets mired down by that stuff. There's no way to avoid that. That's going to happen. That's like being in the middle of a swarming, swarm of insects of some kind and expecting none of them to touch you. Probably not going to happen. You're probably going to get touched. You're probably going to, sink every now and again. It's okay. You got to let those go. You're still better than what you see going on. Even the times that you feel like you stooped to their level or ended up getting sucked into something that you knew better. It's okay. You're still doing better than most. Page of Cups. New friendship is coming. Some of you might be getting a newer boss. Everybody's like, but I was just okay with that when you said everything was okay. Some of you might be making a new boss or a new coworker or a new supervisor that takes the edge off a little bit. And that might be what you need at this time. Oh, that's a client. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. That was a quick one. All right. Well, Page of Cups. Some camaraderie coming your way. I feel like you might either get some good work friend action going on that lightens the load. You'll find some outside influence yes, before I forget. I feel like some of you that aren't in the position to leave, that these cards, more than speaking about the finesse you bring to work with your attire and the keeping your nose to the grindstone energy we saw for some of you. For others, I feel like your guides are saying to throw yourself into some hobby work, like baking, dressing up a little bit more. Maybe you don't dress up on the weekends and your guides are like, go ahead and start doing that, that kind of stuff. Going shopping and spending some of that hard-earned money on some luxury for yourself if you're in means to do that. But yeah, I didn't want to forget to say that. And that might be where you meet that energy. That might also be where you find the energy of Page of Cups, because Page of Cups is all about fun, baby. It is all about having some good old-fashioned fun with good people. Queen of Swords, speak your truth. I feel like sometimes you feel uncomfortable with, especially with the conflicts at work, with speaking up about something you see going on that's messed up. Your guides are saying to, you don't have to always interject, and it's always better, not to if your boss likes that. But your boss also appreciates your input, and it's more valuable than you realize because people don't show appreciation as much where you're at. Stick by it anyway. It's not going to steer you wrong, okay? That is something that is definitely coming out. What else? The Hierophant. Yes, I'm going to put that over here because I feel like it goes along with you teaching people something. Actually teaching them a better way to be, inspiring people through action or inspiring people through example, right? What else? Oh, these two want to come out. Yes. There needs to be some attention towards your social life as well to help you kind of break out of it. Because I honestly, you guys, if you were watching this because you're like, oh, I'm worried that my boss thinks my performance is lacking, or I just want to see, because I just started a new job and I want to see how my boss thinks of me. Honestly, across the board, I feel like your boss thinks that you're pretty solid. I don't see you in their headspace a lot because they have a lot of other people in their headspace that gives them more challenge, okay? That might kind of neglect you on the, feeling appreciated front. And so your guides are kind of throwing this out there to sort of give you some, alternatives if you can't move on to a different job that's a little more fulfilling or less toxic than what you're feeling right now, to throw yourself into hobbies, to throw yourself into just only your tasks and not pay attention to what they're doing, to only worry about what your boss is doing and not worry about what your coworkers are doing because they're a mess. Those kinds of things are all coming through. Take pride in your appearance. Take pride in some hobbies. Take pride in each every little detail of what you do while you're at work, etc. and so forth. Have fun outside of work. Make some new friends, right? Teach some people through example. Let's keep going. Queen of Cups. Yes, that's also emotional fulfillment coming through. It's also more nurturing. And so I feel like from that energy, you'll become more nurturing and you'll actually maybe make some bonds at work even that you didn't have before. And Three of Pentacles. That's all about working well with your coworkers. Holy heck. Look at all how that comes together. How beautiful. Okay. Man, I don't know if I have much else to say about that. I think that's pretty much all we have. So I'm going to end there because it's so synchronotic, whatever. I'm not an English teacher anymore. All right, people. This was fun. If you found this helpful, let me know how it resonated for you in the comments section. You can give me topic ideas there as well. If you'd like to book a private reading for me, you can connect with me on Everclear. You can also get a hold of me in email or just in chat, or on chat and in Instagram, just to figure out what my process is, you know, what prices are, all that fun stuff. If you're a little skittish and don't want to just call straight in. I also just do private readings, just straight between you and me off the platform, if that's what you would prefer. You just got to let me know what you prefer. So we will see you in the next one, my friends. Thank you for being here. Take care. Bye. Hello, pile 3. So if you picked this card as representing your workplace or made you think about your workplace, let's talk about my overall impressions of this first card that you got. Also, we're going to bring up that this card popped out for everyone. There will be information in the description box about this deck as well, in case you liked this one card that you saw from it. It wasn't intentional, it just popped out, and so we had to look at it. So we will be tying that Two of Cups into your reading for your workplace and how your boss feels about you. So right off the bat, for a lot of you, I feel like a lot of you do a lot of jobs at your job. I feel like you're expected to come up with ideas. I feel like you're good at thinking on your feet. I feel like you do it with heart. I feel like you do it with creativity. I feel like you take the good and the bad. Like you do some shadow work at work. If you know what that means, like you embrace your dark side a little bit and use it to your advantage. I also see that your boss sees that about you as well. They recognize that about you, and they see that it opens up a lot of opportunity to you. Whether you realize it or not, it makes your boss feel like you are, and whether you agree with this or not, your boss feels like you're versatile enough that you could pretty much work anywhere, that you're multi-talented. What else? The other thing that goes along with this card is lots of emotions. So for some of you, your boss might think that you're a little bit emotional. When you bring all these things like the heart, the creativity, the shadow aspect, all that stuff, I feel like sometimes the emotions come with that, and your boss might notice that and think of you as kind of passionate, but also a little bit on the emotional side. Not all of you, but some of you. Okay, so take that if it resonates. Don't take it if you're like, I'm stoic as hell at work. Okay, it could be that your boss thinks that that goes on underneath because you're stoic, but I feel like for a select few that are watching this, that to some you do come off as emotional. Okay, I do see some burden. Let's see what else we got. Fear of the future and not knowing exactly what the whole picture is all the time, which is probably why you're here. Okay, the Magician and the Page of Coins. There's a lot of messages coming through. Okay, I'm going to try to keep them all straight. Oh, Lordy. Okay, help me. Help me focus, people. And how your guides help me too. Creator, all those wonderful things getting us through this stuff. Okay. The burden and the not knowing where you stand feels like very much like your energy that you own, that you have all the time at work in some way or another, and that your unsureness of how you stand with people, particularly your boss in this instance, makes you feel that like unsureness of like the moon of like, I can't see around the corner, or being worried about the shadows concealing what the real picture is. So it could be worrying about not being seen for how you really are, not being thoroughly represented for what you can do. What else, Spirit? None of this is reality, though. I'm feeling that, other than the emotional aspect for some of you. Like, I feel like sometimes for the emotional people, that fear and unsureness becomes a burden, and then it becomes hard to think clearly. You might make some rash decisions that ended up not working out as well. What else? I feel like with the Magician, your guides are saying that you have all the tools to be successful, that you already are pretty successful at work, other than the emotional aspect, that you don't need to have this much worry, because like that card's very much saying to me that you've got this, and your boss overall feels like you've got this too. I feel like the emotional aspect that they pick up on is not something that they really hold against you that hard. No one's perfect. We all have our different like extreme personalities at work, especially if we bring heart to the table. And so they don't expect you to not get emotional. I think that like they do expect that's just part of a facet of your personality. It does come out at times. I don't see them seeing it as particularly destructive. It might make them stiffen up a little from time to time because, you know, they might worry about you saying too much, you know, or whatever, or things getting tense. But I really don't feel them feeling nervous around you or worrying about your performance. I honestly feel that for some of you, you might be getting a promotion or a raise soon, and that will put this whole issue to bed for those people. Because the Page of Coins is about getting news or a gift being brought into you. What else can we see? Oh, interesting. This one came out in the last groups as well. I feel like you are good at putting your head down and just getting your job done. I also see you taking time to perfect what you do, taking pride in the things that you do. Like I said, I feel that heart is very prominent. Like you bring a lot of heart, but you also not exude, but you also like embrace your dark side. And so I feel like because you do that, you know what your mistakes are that you make and you correct them when needed, right? Or you use them to learn when needed. I feel like that's a very big part of your work personality. And I feel like your boss recognizes that. You're good with fresh ideas, some of you, and your boss notices that. You kind of bring a youthful atmosphere to the job. If some of you are newer at this job, which I feel like some of you might be, and that's why you're reading this in the first place, that you bring a youthfulness or a freshness to the workplace that might have felt a little lacking before. It's refreshing to other people there as well as your boss. What else do we have? These guys want to come right out, and so does that one. Okay. 8 of Wands. Fast change in momentum. Page of Wands. Big, fresh ideas and new inspirations. Queen of Wands. Holy heck. Okay. If you were worried about how your boss sees you, you guys can just stop now, honestly. You're either so good, you're just going to become your own boss. And that might be what that changes for some of you. Some of you might just become the boss because you're actually that good. The main thing that you can do is let's cover up these unsure, overwhelmed, and burdened cards with these more positive ones, because I feel like those are more representative of what's going on here. That's for sure. 8 of Wands is all about fast momentum and change. Queen of Wands is about independence and passion and being like, kind of being an it girl. I'm not going to lie. Like, you don't even need an entourage. It's all just you. And then Ace of Wands is about like a fresh new start, a light going on in a pitch black room, a great big huge idea, an aha moment, standing at attention, all that fun stuff. Yes, and getting on with coworkers. Yeah, if you're worried, I honestly don't feel like you need to be. These two want to come out too. Yes, don't hang on so tightly to that worry. I also feel some fear of getting worried about being betrayed or stabbed in the back, or people double dealing behind your back. I honestly don't feel like that's the reality of the situation across the board in this case. And yeah, you're teaching. You're actually like a teacher to others in this workplace. You lead by example. Even if you're new, they're already starting to realize that about you. Nothing else. See, you're on your way. If you're not your own boss soon, you're well on your way. Nine of Pentacles is all about being fulfilled. It's also about being financially stable, independently stable. It's also about like being accomplished. No one's bugging her. She's not bugging anyone else. She's established herself. She's fine. Okay. And I see that coming through. I see you rising in the ranks. So like if you're worried about this kind of energy, don't. Let's put that over. Your boss is not gunning for you. That's for sure. If you feel like they are, I feel a little bit of like insecurity or jealousy coming from a couple of the bosses. But if that's the case for some of you, the Six of Swords is showing that like respite and rescue comes in for you when you need it. Your guides will come and warn you before anything happens that is unforeseen or unsavory. What else? Yes, you're so worried about like getting stabbed in the back. This card also carries the message with it. If someone's going through a hard time, I say this is literally as bad as it's going to get right now. So whatever bad things that have happened in regards to whatever situation you're reading on, when this card shows up, it has gotten as bad as it's going to get. Okay. So if things don't feel that bad right now, then that means you're definitely escaping unscathed from anything that you thought was going to hurt you, anything that you thought was bad. If it's been a little bit rough, it's up from here. Okay. So always keep in mind that this card is not as scary as it looks. What else can we say for y'all? Yeah, I feel like all this fear of like people like deciding that you're bad. It feels like imposter syndrome, honestly. Knight of Swords. Yeah, it's okay to speak your truth and take action. You've earned your place. You're doing well. This came out as well. Temperance. You're going to find your balance and your groove, especially if you're new at this. Alrighty. But I feel like a lot of you might just feel like unsure, just because like you might always feel unsure about what others think of you or what your boss feels about you. What else? I feel like I'm getting more cards for you than the other piles, but I'm moving through them faster. Yes, I feel like you don't really have to worry about your job right now. Like, if you want to stay there, you can. If you want to move on, your boss already knows that you could, okay? And that might be the one thing that might feel a little bit off with your boss, is that they might expect you just to disappear at any minute when something better comes along. And so maybe they haven't, maybe they're not very good at trying to entice people to stay or try to like pump people up to stay, okay? They might talk about you like you're already on your way out, and that might make some of you feel uncomfortable. But it's honestly just them assuming that you're going to move on to something bigger and better. I do feel like one or two people may be dealing with an insecure boss that's a little bit insecure around you because you are so accomplished. They could see you taking their job someday. I don't see anything bad coming of that. I don't see them doing anything bad to you or like, you know, sabotaging you or doing anything. Like with the Lovers card showing up and you're asking about how your boss feels about you, I think they actually, for the most part, across the board, relate to you more than anything. If they're kind of on the jealous side, they wish they could relate to you more because they feel like you do things right and that maybe they're not doing it right. There might be some imposter syndrome coming from somebody's boss in this pile. What else? Temperance is all about finding balance. It's also about healing. So I feel like whatever wounds were given to you with that 10 of Swords, whatever fears you're hanging on to with the 7 of Swords, that it's going to be okay. You're going to escape unscathed from these situations that you find are stressful, okay? These moments of insecurity or these moments of unsurety are going to be tempered. That's a client. I'll be right back. Well, I can't remember exactly where I left off because that was a longer call. But, oh, hang on. Sorry, I had to dismiss that client's guides. They're just like standing around like, hey, what are you guys doing? Whoops. My bad. Okay, so now it's just us and your guides and mine. Alrighty. The Lovers card we were talking about, your boss kind of sees you as like somebody they relate to, somebody that they actually admire. That also brings me to my 2 of Cups card that popped out from that random deck as we were setting this up. This card is all about partnerships and equality and healing and health. Okay? I feel like your boss honestly thinks of you as more of an ally than an enemy, okay? More of an asset than a liability, okay? Somebody valuable, somebody that brings positive things to the workforce, etc. and so forth. So I honestly don't feel like you have anything to worry about as far as like your boss like not liking you. I feel like there's a lot of worry there for some of you. And I relate to it because man, it does not matter. It did not matter how well I did my job when I was doing those other jobs. I never felt like I was seen for what I was actually doing. And I don't feel like that was always the case. I think that was a lot of it was my perception, but it was always a fear. And then I had the unfortunate experience of getting like a new boss every like 2 or 3 years, a brand spanking new one. And in a lot of cases, it was like the same 2 jobs in all the cases, actually. Same 2 careers, different bosses every couple of years. It's so hard to know where you stand. It also sucks when you have had a pretty decent career as far as you're concerned. You've done a good job, right? But then these new people come in and they have no idea what you were doing 6 years ago or 10 years ago or whatever. And so you have to move forward from that. They're going to make their own assumptions. It's almost like you're the one that's like on academic probation, you know, and they're the one that gets to decide if you're worth keeping, even though you were there before they got there. Like, I totally relate to that. And that does feel like something for some of you. I feel like that if you're in a more toxic workplace, that can get really prominent. I don't feel like you're in a toxic workplace, but I feel like you have so many things that you do and so many hats that you wear at work. Like they say, oh, she wears a lot of hats. Have you ever heard people say that about somebody at work? That means you do like 18 jobs that aren't your own. And you take care, if you're taking care of like 18 jobs that aren't your own, well, then guess what? You're doing the emotional support of those jobs. You're doing the emotional drain of those jobs on yourself. It just snowballs. Okay. Some of you might need to focus on staying in your lane and just doing your job, regardless of what these people think or how it might make you look. Okay. Document if you need. Like, document it on a piece of paper. Like, I realize I'm doing too many people's jobs and I need to scale back to my own duties. And I'm going to start doing that today. And I'm going to record if anybody gives me any attitude about it and won't come and talk to me about it like an adult. However you want to do it. Read your bylaws as well, or like your little, your employee manual. Go through it and find out exactly what your boss's job is and what your job is and what you're supposed to be doing. That just came through. Sometimes it helps to have that refresher, even if you did a really good job reading it the first time. What else? Yeah, it really gives you good insight into what your boss's job is. I feel like that second read is always a better one for figuring out, okay, what am I not supposed to be doing? What is not my responsibility? I don't know why that popped in at the end there, but it did. I feel like some of you are getting a promotion. I feel like some of you just need to stay in your lane. I feel like none of you have to worry about how your boss feels about you across the board. That is something that is very clear. Take that extra card as confirmation of how they feel steady with you. Okay. And with that, I will let you go. If this was helpful, tell me how in the comments section. You can give me topic ideas there as well. And if you'd like to book a private reading, there are ways to do so in the description box. I work on a platform. You also can just email me. We'll set it up between us. All right, we'll see you in the next one, y'all. Take care. Bye-bye-bye.